Hi, this is Ronnie, and this is part two of 4 years on a raw vegan diet and what that has taught me. So I want to go into some of the negatives and the positives of it. I'll finish off. I'll take this. It's getting sunny here. I'll finish off by talking about how I do a raw vegan diet. I follow a low-fat raw vegan diet. You can read about it in a book called The 80-10-10 Diet by Dr. Doug Graham. It's probably one of the best books, probably the best book that's been written on the subject so far. And basically his idea is that it's been found in terms of sports and athletics that our body performs best when we have a diet that's high in carbohydrate, 80% carbohydrate and above, 10% protein, 10% fat. That's a caloronutrient ratio. So what we're talking about is the percentage of calories that come from those macronutrients. So all the macronutrients, calories, fat and protein, have a caloric value to them. That's energy, fuel. Calories are the fuel of food that we use, and each food has a different range. Each whole food has a different amount of calories, proteins and fat that make up the total calories of the food. Don't want to get too technical on you here, but basically foods that are higher in carbohydrate are better for us. And the reason that they're better for us is that as the level of fat in our diet or in our food increases, our performance in terms of our body's ability to transport, utilize and convert oxygen and sugar into the fuel that we need starts to reduce. So that's one of the main key things that shows that we really should be on a carbohydrate rich diet. But there's a lot more information out there about how some of the healthiest populations in the world, the longest living populations in the world, the slimmest peoples, the peoples that have avoided disease, have all been on a carbohydrate rich diet, and a diet that's high in fruits and vegetables as well, fresh fruits and vegetables. So when we go towards a raw diet, we also want to continue on a high carbohydrate diet. It's really not a high carbohydrate diet, it's the appropriate level of carbohydrate to support our best health. So when we look at that in terms of raw food, the only thing that really fits the bill is fruit. We require a fruit-based diet, and that matches with our anthropology, with our biology. It just all comes together to show that it really makes sense that fruit should be the staple of our diet, and certainly the staple of a raw food diet. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you just eat fruit. Obviously Doug Graham and many people recommend vegetables as well, as much as you like, especially the green leafy vegetables, and also nuts and seeds, but just not making up a huge amount of your calories, because nuts and seeds are very high in calories, so you don't want to eat too many of them basically. Okay, so 4 years on a raw vegan diet, what have been some of the positives? Well, the first thing I would say is when I was changing to a raw vegan diet, I could tell at that time in my life, I was about 27 years old, I was already starting to get some aches and pains in my knees and in my hips, and certain parts of my body I was feeling certain aches and pains. And transitions to vegan and started eating a lot of fruit, and those aches and pains just disappeared, and I was started to be infused with this kind of childlike energy, this new energy. And I remember like bouncing up the stairs at work and just feeling so much better. And there was an emotional transformation as well. I definitely reconnected with this childlike wonder with the world, with this simple happiness for the first year or so. And I wouldn't say this has always continued, but for the first year I would be eating fruit, have big fruit meals and bananas in particular, and I would just I would go into states of complete happiness and gratitude and joy. And that's real, for people that have never tried this raw vegan diet, that's absolutely real. These experiences of incredible emotional highs and emotional states. I know a lot of people that don't follow a raw vegan diet 100%, but they'll do it every now and again because they want to clean out their body, but they also want to experience that feeling again of how good they feel on a raw vegan diet. So that certainly inspired me to keep going. I saw my digestion improve. My digestion was never terrible, but I just saw the difference. All of a sudden, you don't hear your digestion, you don't hear the burping, the gurgling in your stomach or anything. And obviously that helps with everything else in life. When your digestion's better, if you're going to go and play a sport or do anything else, you're just not held back by you know, the digestion that's happening, all the sounds or the weird stuff. I obviously noticed the difference in my skin, nails felt stronger in my bones. I don't know if that makes sense, but a lot of people talk about bone weakness possibly in raw veganism, but I've never had that. I feel like I can like whack the wall with my hand and it feels like literally. Whereas before I had quite sensitive hands. If it hit off something, I would feel kind of pain. So it's changed things physically. I remember when I started to do it, my mind. People talk about how sharp your mind becomes. I didn't notice a huge difference in that, but I would say that certainly if I go back to eating like a lot of fat or something like that, like a lot of nuts or something, I do feel just how much that affects your ability to think and concentrate and focus. Whereas when you're on fruit, you just have this real steady energy, and your ability to focus and concentrate is very, very high, as long as you're eating enough fruit. So these are a lot of the benefits. I've certainly become a more confident person. I've tried new things, but that could be as a result of a lot of things. The connection to nature thing is to some extent true. I think that you do feel the colours of nature, the sounds in it. You certainly feel a draw to nature. You feel a draw to the trees. You want to start climbing trees and become more part of your natural self and get out of the sunlight. You have this great desire to get more in line with the natural order of things, and that's why so many raw vegans end up, they want to move to the tropics, or they want to live a more natural lifestyle, or they want to be naked all the time, or all these things. They just get a calling back to a more simplistic natural self. Other benefits, I think I have been able to do some things athletically that were pretty amazing. I don't know if I would have been able to do them before, but I did a 22-mile run at the Woodstock Fruit Festival without any real training for it. So it certainly seems to unleash that athletic potential. Once again, I think because it's not slowing you down or making you sluggish or anything, your creative potential can be unleashed, and also you're not putting your creative energy into making food all the time or doing stuff like that. So you really want to focus on your own creative pursuits rather than food taking up so much of your energy. There's a lot of other benefits. I mean, the simple physical benefits of smelling good, having your skin's always healthy, shiny, you don't have you don't have so much earwax and stuff coming out your nose, and that's a great benefit for me because I like to sing and stuff, because my throat's always clear and open, whereas before I would get phlegm in my throat that would prevent me from singing well. So there's a lot of benefits. It's a really life-changing experience, and I really think that more and more people should get on this and try it out. But let's look into some of the negatives, because that's also something worth thinking about. I would say that the biggest negative in terms of to my health was that I didn't take care of my teeth well enough at the start. I've talked about this a couple of times, but there has always been a kind of an idea circulating that if you're on a raw diet, you don't need to really take care of your teeth as much, because it's really the cooked food and everything else that's causing teeth problems. Well, it turns out that's not true. So, although at the same time, I was probably always consuming juice and dried fruit and things like that. So technically, it might not have been to do with the raw food, but I certainly think some of the advice I was looking at the time was kind of recommending you don't really need to take care of your teeth that much, and that's not right. And a lot of the people that said that at the time have had teeth problems since. Now, I don't want to alarm you. I would say that I've met a lot of people as well who've had absolutely no problems with their teeth, and they've not really taken religious care of their teeth, but they've done 100% raw vegan diet for years. So it depends on you, it depends on your mouth, it depends on your previous level of damage and whatever else. But certainly I recommend cleaning the teeth every day with toothpaste. I'm not always, but since speaking to dentists about this, fluoride, I think fluoride in toothpaste is not a bad thing. A lot of people think it's a Nazi chemical for controlling the world or something, but apparently it works very well for helping to stop tooth decay, so I recommend that. And I really recommend cleaning between the teeth and maybe rinsing out your mouth, but I don't recommend floss. I don't think floss is good, but either floss sticks or interdental brushes to clean out between your teeth after you've eaten fruit will make a huge difference. Because basically what you need to do is, like all aspects of health, is allow your body to heal itself. So when it comes to your mouth, clean out your mouth, get rid of the excess fruit debris, get rid of the food that accumulates in your teeth, and your body, your saliva, can go back to remineralizing, adding enamel back onto the teeth. A lot of people go on about unripe fruit damaging the teeth. Well, yeah, it does, but I think ripe fruit probably damages the teeth as well. It damages a very, very thin layer of the enamel, which then naturally is meant to get rebuilt by the process of our saliva going over the enamel, and that remineralizes the teeth. So that's how it's meant to happen. I would certainly say take care of your teeth well, and if you want more specific advice on that, I've got a video on that, but I can ask more questions on it. I think under-eating has created a lot of problems when you don't get enough fruit, or you can't find enough fruit, or you simply don't feel like eating, because sometimes in life you get excited about other things, and you end up not eating enough for a couple of days, and that can create a lot of problems where you might start to not feel yourself, start to feel depressed, start to feel vulnerable, start to not feel very happy. And it's certainly easier with a cooked food diet that's kind of addictive in a sense, to always be eating enough, because you're always wanting to eat. Whereas with this fruit-based diet, a fruitarian diet, you don't even feel hungry in the same way. Some people say, "Oh, I've not felt hungry for 20 years," as a joke. You don't really feel hunger in the same way that people on a cooked food diet feel that real hunger pain. That doesn't really happen when you go raw. So you have to really have your own judgment and develop your own experience on how much to eat and when to eat and things like that. And I think it's more to do with in your mind. You start to feel less focused, less sharp, and that makes you think, right, my body's calling for food now. So it's certainly funny like that. It's a completely different experience in your body to be on a fruit-based raw vegan diet than on a cooked diet. But certainly under-eating can lead to, for me, it can lead to problems where I don't get to sleep enough, or don't get to sleep early enough. Leaves me feeling really tired. You can get really grouchy if you're not eating enough. So I've had to really learn to get more disciplined about making sure I'm always got enough food and eating enough. So the other negative, trying to get enough food, sometimes obviously you go out into the world, there's not this abundance of fruit around all the time, ripe all the time, but you just have to learn to deal with that. But what I would say is there's still an incredible amount. I mean, I went out last night to a 24-hour supermarket, and there was plenty of ripe fruit there. There was absolutely loads of ripe fruit there. So I think that people sometimes complain about that, and instead they should be grateful that there's food on their doorstep all the time. It can be more expensive for sure. If you get to markets and wholesale markets, you can significantly reduce your prices and get down to a very reasonable, cost of your diet. But yeah, I definitely spent a lot on food over the years because I've not been as organised. So whether you want to see that as a negative, I don't worry too much about that, because I feel like I'm making a good investment in my health. Maybe social things, little uncomfortable situations, people look at you when you're eating a lot of fruit or buying fruit, but that's just, to me, that's just part of this journey of really becoming your own centre of gravity, being your own reference point, being your own person, that you're the only person that you're really concerned about when it comes to that, because no one else really knows about nutrition and health and stuff. So if you know anything about it and you're moving towards a raw vegan diet, then you need to be your own cheerleader, and learn to use humour, learn to have fun with people, and learn to take the jokes and everything as they come and not get too worried about it, and just be really confident about your journey. But and then there's maybe the social aspects of not meeting enough friends. Well, I started to try and deal with that by starting a meetup group, which is at meetup.com/Glasgow-Fruitluck. If any of you are in Glasgow, I'll put down a link below. I also started the UK Fruit Festival, and I've met tons of people through that. I'll put a link down below for that. It's a raw vegan festival in the UK, teaching and supporting people with all the stuff that I'm talking about here, a raw vegan fruit-based diet. So go along to that, subscribe to that page, or join the email list so we can contact you in the future about it. But that's basically been the negatives and the positives, and I would say that the positives will outweigh the negatives. Are all kind of short term mostly. Once you work out how to do your diet, once you work out how to get your food, once you work out how to deal with social situations, then you can just continue to do that for the rest of your life. And the investment that you've made in getting on a really healthy lifestyle with really good habits will the investment in that will really pay back a huge amount in your future life, but also in your current life. So I really recommend it. I don't worry too much about the negatives, but I recommend that you continue on your path on a raw vegan diet and help others to do it as well, and share it with others. And if you've liked this video, please subscribe to this channel. Let me know how I could improve the videos. Please let me know what you want from me, or put questions down below, and subscribe to the channel. Share it with other people if you thought this was helpful. This has been my video on 4 years on a raw vegan diet. Hope it's helped, and I hope that we connect in the future.